Okay, I love my house, don't get me wrong. I love her, she's cute. But the air conditioning unit in my bedroom is so loud that I have to turn it off every single time I record a video, because then you just constantly hear it in the background if I don't. And then if I turn it off, my room gets stupid hot. Benefits of living in a college house that was built in 1923, everyone. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Emily Harless. If you don't know me already, I'm going to be a junior at Ball State University this year. I am, really excited to get back to school. I actually love school, and I think part of the reason that I do like it is because I really enjoy structure and organization within my life. And, I've mentioned that a few times on my Instagram or in other videos, and a lot of you guys have asked me how I, prepare for and keep myself organized during the school year, especially, a lot of you people are going into college. You're going to be freshmen in college this year, and it's way different than high school. There's a lot of different organization, things that you need to know. So I am here to hopefully help you figure out some ways to, prepare for and keep organized for college. And, whether you're going to be a freshman or, a senior in college, or whether you're even still going into high school, all these tips can apply, however you want them to, in whatever ways that you think would honestly work best for you. These are just the ways that work best for me. You can always, of course, tweak them a little bit to fit your needs. So the first thing, of course, that I do want to talk about is preparation for the school year. Now, of course, the school year is going to look a lot different than it has in the past, because, your school could be entirely online, or it could be a hybrid, kind of like ours is, or maybe it is all in person. And if it is, that's fun as well. So something that I know that I always did when I had in-person classes was I made sure I had an organized space or desk to do my homework at, so I didn't get distracted by other things. But obviously this year we also have to account for those online classes, and this can still be put into play for that. You are going to need an organized space to do your homework, but you also need to make sure it's organized for your Zoom calls. You don't want anything distracting behind you or near you during your Zoom class or anything like that. So make sure you just have a really clean, organized, put together space for you to do your stuff. It makes you, a lot more productive, makes you get things done actually quicker and learn things better. You will most likely get better grades if you live in a cleaner area, or have at least a cleaner area for your class time and homework. Secondly, I would say to try to actually create an emergency kit to put in your backpack. Now, this can consist of a lot of different things. It could be entirely first aid. If you're a girl, it could have feminine hygiene products in it. It could have a charger or whatever you want to put in it. So for example, what mine looks like is actually in last Sunday's video. It's the what's in my backpack video. If you guys do want to see what is in mine, make sure you go watch that. But you can put sort of anything you want to in it, like I mentioned. My third preparation tip is something that actually really helps me a lot. I try to memorize my schedule or make it my phone background before we go back to school. I, try to have it in my head, that way I don't have to constantly open my phone or pull out a piece of paper and look at what my schedule is and try to figure stuff out and figure out where I'm going. Along with that, I would also say, of course, walk to your classes and figure out where your classes are before school starts. So during welcome week, typically most of the buildings are open if you're in person. Walk into the buildings. You don't have to go into the classroom, but at least try to figure out where it's at, because then you're not going to be stressing out on the first day when you only have 15 minutes between your classes to get across campus and then have to find a classroom still. So walk your classes, memorize your schedule. It'll make life a whole lot easier. And the fourth preparation tip I have is actually something that I still struggle with. I highly suggest that you meal prep. Now, if you are living on campus and you do have a meal plan, obviously this is a little less important for you, but for those of you who are off campus and making your own food like me, I think it's really beneficial to find something that you can make throughout, make it on Sunday and it'll stay fresh and taste good still throughout the rest of the week. And just prep it all on Sunday when you don't have other obligations, or even if it's a Saturday and you don't have other obligations, something like that. So then you have stuff throughout the week. You don't have to try to figure out what you're eating throughout the week and try to make it when you have, extracurriculars or classes, night classes, homework going on. You can just go into the fridge, put it in the microwave, heat it up, and it's just gonna taste as good as new. That makes, you know, life a whole lot easier, more organized. You're not stressing out about what to eat as much. And if you really do want to cook every day and make something fresh every day, I would highly suggest you get a meal prep notebook and at least still write down what you were having throughout the week. That way you don't have to try to sit down and plan that night based off of what you have. So you can just write it down, plan it out, go to the grocery store, get what you need, and you already have all the ingredients for the week. So those are some of my biggest preparation tips, but now I want to explain kind of the things that I do throughout the school year to keep myself organized during the school year. The first thing, of course, I think I mentioned this in almost like every video that I've done with school supplies, or with like almost every back to school video I've done. I think I mentioned this, including my how to stay productive video. I mentioned this. I mentioned that you should use a planner. I know maybe it doesn't necessarily work for everyone, but for me, having a planner and writing things down is a lot more beneficial to me than typing it up and, you know, seeing it just on my phone and my notes and stuff like that. It's just more beneficial that way. I know personally I, you know, remember things better when I write them down, and I like having the ability to like actually physically check it off. I feel like that's more satisfying to me, and it makes me feel more productive and accomplished. So I would suggest you use a planner. Going along with that, I would also suggest that you get some pens and you do color code them. I know some people, I think, say, like, makes this sound girly or whatever, you try to color code your pens, but it's really not. I've seen a lot of people do it, and it's actually really, really beneficial for you. Make sure you actually color code it. I know I've color coded pens I have one for every single class. I have one for work and Newslink, and one for Alpha Chi Omega, and like holidays and birthdays and all sorts of stuff like that. So it is definitely helpful, and it does keep my, you know, my life a little bit more organized when I'm looking at my planner, still trying to figure some stuff out. My third tip is to actually use Post-it notes within your notebook. So obviously if you do have a paper notebook like I like to have, you will have, you know, all sorts of stuff all over the page. You'll have written this huge, like, you know, page of notes, whether it's copying straight from the PowerPoint or whatever. You're gonna have a huge page of notes filled with words. Sometimes it's gonna get a little scrambled, and you're gonna forget some stuff. So I personally use Post-it notes by, you know, writing down things that I know I'm gonna have trouble memorizing, or stuff I didn't quite understand that I know I'm gonna have, you know, trouble finding later, or I just need to ask for. So I'll write a Post-it note, stick it in that area, and I might even bookmark the page with like a paper clip or something like that as well. I also, you know, use Post-it notes when I come to the end of units to mark test dates. So I'll put in there, hey, the test is on this day, it goes over chapters this and this. And I actually personally use paper clips as well for the test date sort of thing, by paper clipping together each section after I take the test. So say I had a test in September over chapters like 1 through 4 of a book. I would keep that open, and then after I take the test, I would paper clip all of the pages of my notes from chapters 1 and 4 together. So then that's all grouped together, and I don't accidentally have to like, I don't have to try to like flip through all of my pages of my notes to find where chapter 5 starts, things like that. My fourth tip is, of course, to use index cards for memorizing things or speeches. I mean, I feel like this is pretty obvious, but I know a lot of people now use Quizlet, and this goes back to the same sort of premise that I talked about earlier, where me physically writing things down makes me remember it better than typing it out. So I do use index cards a lot more than I use Quizlet typically, just because, you know, having the practice of writing it is helpful. I will utilize Quizlet as well if I want to do like play the games and things like that, but I would actually highly suggest that you use index cards over online platforms to memorize some stuff, just because, you know, you will retain the information better. And my fifth and final tip is actually, you know, get a real notebook. I think preached it way too far at this point, that, you know, writing things down makes me memorize it better than typing it out. So, you know, do that, take that as a tip on its own, but I would highly suggest is actually getting a notebook rather than using, you know, the computer all the time. So that is actually it for this week's video. I know it was very short compared to a lot of the videos that I do have on this channel, but personally, you know, those are really my biggest tips on how to prepare for and stay organized during the school year. I feel like I don't, you know, generally have a lot of tips. I kind of just go with the flow throughout the school year, but those are, you know, the concrete things that I always seem to follow every year. So I hope you guys, you know, take them, twist them in your own way that it works for you. And, you know, I hope you guys liked this, and liked getting some ideas from me. And if you did, you know, make sure to drop a like on this video. If you want to know more about me, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All my social media links are also linked in the description below, and I want you guys to tell me, what do you do for organization tips? I'm always looking for more ways to be more organized and stuff like that, so let me know in the comments down below, and also tell me, you know, what you're most excited about for this school year, what your school's doing, whether it's online or in person, whatever. Let me know in the comments. I do respond to every single comment. But with that being said, that is it for this week's back to school video. I will see you guys on Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah.